How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today we are myth busting. You see, if you guys had tried to travel any time in the last few weeks, you'll have noticed that plane tickets are one, way more expensive than they used to be, and two, at a real risk of getting delayed or canceled. You see, that's actually why I'm here. I'm here in Kansas. There's a cornfield behind me. I should be in Florida at home, but I'm not because my flight got canceled. And instead of waiting the 24 hours or so to see if my next flight got canceled, I decided to issue myself a challenge. I wanted to see if I could buy a car here and then drive it home in less time than it takes for me to get on a plane and fly there. But I figured that wasn't good enough because if I'm gonna be saving time, I might as well save some money. So I decided to buy the cheapest, most unreliable car I could and then use that to get halfway across the country. This is going to be interesting. I don't see how this is going to make it. So if you guys are new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it and consider subscribing if these are the kinds of cars and projects you like to see. This is honestly a car I love to hate because this is a 2004 Audi allroad. It is a very interesting car, but it's also possibly the most unreliable car I've ever driven, the most unreliable car ever made by Audi, and probably the most unreliable car you'll see on this channel for a very long time. But I bought it for a reason, and that reason is it was cheap. Actually, I didn't even buy it. Tyler Hoover bought this car, and then he said, "Hey, would you like to buy a cheap Audi allroad?" And I was like, okay. He bought this thing for $3,000 and he had some work done to it to make sure that it wasn't literally exploding. But I mean, just look at it. This thing is every bit of 200,000 miles. It has a V6 with twin turbos, all-wheel drive, and a manual transmission. Now, I bought this car, and I know that buying a $3,000 car is less than a plane ticket, but I figured that if this car is in this shape by the time I get home and I haven't crashed it, it hasn't exploded, or anything like that, I can get my money out when I get there. So I'm not gonna use the cost of the car, but I am gonna use all the consumables, which is fuel, and in this case, coolant and oil, possibly tires, and who knows what else is gonna break on this car. Now, I wanted to go over everything in this car that's gonna make this special. It's really hot. I don't know if you guys can tell, it is 1,000,000 degrees. We're in the middle of Kansas, there's cornfields behind me, and the sun is right there. Somebody told me that it was windy in Kansas. That's a lie. There ain't no breeze here, so I'm just sweating up a storm. So please bear with me because I may pass out. I'm gonna make this quick, but I want to show you guys something very, very interesting. You see, this. Ow! 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 Okay. So welcome to a V6 that is quite possibly the most hated V6 in my life. I really don't like this engine, mainly because it takes forever to work on it. So this is awesome because it has 30 valves, which means 5 valves per cylinder, and that means that if something happens with the timing belt, and it is a belt, 30 valves go into your pistons and the engine is grenaded. But this does have a twin turbo system. It has an all-wheel drive system that's actually quite good, and it has, well, it has more leaks than the Titanic. Does the Titanic have leak? It just had like that one big leak, right? And then it went down. This has more leaks than the Titanic. Now, one thing I always look for when I buy a new car is that all the fluids are where they should be. Now, you have coolant here, which is actually at the line. I'm not gonna check the oil because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. And everything around here just looks sort of oily and messy, but it doesn't seem to be actively leaking anything. So I'm gonna just take that as this is a running car and I'm not gonna mess with it. But what I'm gonna do right now is I'll show you guys on the inside because that is, it's really something. It's disgusting in there. Now, whew, okay. Everything is molten lava, but that's okay because we have an interior that is almost complete. I mean, you have like missing trim here. You have that. That's the thing. This is nice and really quite dusty. I don't even know how you get that much dust. Was is this in a haunted house or something? One thing I do love about this car is the fact that it has this, a 6-speed manual transmission. Not only are these rare for these cars, for a car in this price range to get a twin turbo all-wheel drive with a manual, that is unheard of. So I really have to thank Tyler for that. This also doesn't have a salvage title, nothing like that. It wasn't on fire, it wasn't underwater, but it is an Audi from the mid-2000s, and it doesn't have the best record as far as reliability, but let's see if it starts. It doesn't start. So Tyler sold me this car with a little bit of a starter issue that turned into a big starter issue because it's now hot and the car doesn't start at all. But the good thing about this car is that I can do something modern Audis can't do, and that's push start it because it has a manual transmission. The bad part is I am a smart person and I parked on grass and there's a slight uphill, and you guys get to see me try to push start a car while it's really, really hot with no breeze, and I actually might pass out. So let's see what happens. You gotta put it in on position, and then you gotta, okay, it's already rolling backwards, which is fantastic. It's exactly what you want. And then you wanna kind of brace your, okay, you don't wanna use any, stop it, stop, okay. Okay, okay, oh, all right, okay. Okay. I can do this. Okay. Ow. Okay. You know what I could do? Maybe that rocking back and forth did something to the starter, and I might get lucky and oh, would you look at that? It started. I need some air conditioning. My adventure with my Audi Allroad has officially begun, and I want to show you guys why this car is, one, actually pretty special, and two, probably not the car you ever want to buy. It's pretty fast though, it's not too bad. So this car was made because Audi wanted to make a luxury, sort of off-roady car that could tackle any terrain. I mean, this is called an all-road, and you can go off-roading in it, but only just. So this had an active air suspension that had 4 levels, and this car in particular had all that taken away because that was one of the most unreliable parts of the car. The leveling system, the air suspension, always broke, it leaked, and this car thankfully has a conversion to a strut and spring setup, and it rides really nicely. Before I got the car, Tyler had the air conditioning done, which I am super grateful for, and he also had the alternator done, and I'm not sure that took because my voltage is just over 12, and alternator should be between 13 and 14 volts, but the car's running, so I don't really care. These are known for overheating in conditions exactly like this, but it doesn't seem to be overheating. It doesn't seem to be leaking anything profusely. The temperatures and pressures are okay, and it has a big fat check engine light, which is exactly what an Audi from the mid-2000s always should have. So I know I buy a bunch of cars, and I end up keeping most of them. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep this one, but since we're on the topic of what I'm going to keep and what I'm not, I should talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Keeps. That was a good segue because Keeps and keeping cars is it's the same word, and you see the company is called
Keeps is a subscription service that helps men keep their hair. They offer clinically proven treatments to combat the symptoms of hair loss, and treatments are delivered straight to your door, and plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Now, all treatment plans are personalized and doctor recommended and include 24/7 expert support that come with a year of unlimited doctor messaging. And most customers start to notice results within 6 months of starting treatment. Now, it's a very common thing to experience some form of hair loss, because 2 out of 3 guys by the time they're 35 will experience some form of hair loss, and I am definitely one of those 2 out of 3 guys, but I'm very, very thankful that Keeps is a thing. Now, to get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/Tavarish or click the link in the video description. That's KEEPS.com/Tavarish. Go check it out right now.
Okay, time to hit the road. Let's hope this thing starts. So it's not starting. Not starting. Here's what I'm going to do though. I am on a hill and I am going to leave it in gear, and I got to make sure that I turn the wheel a certain way. Okay, it's in the on position. Put it into first, and we just kind of do this guy, and pop the clutch. Okay, all right, that was a little violent. All right, let's hit the road. It is hot. All right, let's begin. So I'm going to be driving nearly 20 hours, and that is leaving me no room for any breakdowns, any mechanical issues, any electrical issues, or any issues befitting a Audi of the mid-2000s. So I'm not giving myself a ton of margin, but I feel like this car may just be able to make it, and hopefully you'll be along for the ride. And if it doesn't make it, then I don't know, I guess I don't release this video. I don't know. I'll probably get a tow truck, and that's gonna cost me $1 billion. Okay, that didn't take long. I'm on the side of the road. We have some highway traffic that's very close to me, and the car just died. I had no power coming from the accelerator pedal. I could put it into lower gears, and the car did coast, but it didn't seem like the engine exploded or anything. I tried to restart it. Okay, that's weird. Now the car's running again. Oh boy, let's hope it's just one of those Audi things where it forgets that it's a car and we don't have this problem anymore. Fingers crossed. Lots of fingers, all the fingers crossed. Five minutes later and we still have the same problem. Now I can replicate this. Try to start it and nope. Tries to start and just dies. It seems like it's not getting any fuel. I'm gonna try to see if I can limp it over there, because it is seriously dangerous right here on the highway. I just need you to start one more time and then I can get into town. Hey, there's a pub and pool. That's nice. All right, we are running again, and I don't know what I did, but I shook the car around a little bit like this, and then it just started. I'm gonna get off at that exit and then see what I can do. Maybe there's crap in the fuel tank and I have to just run some fuel through it, but I don't think it's that simple of a problem. It's probably way more complicated. The problem is when the engine shuts off, then I lose power steering, so I have to keep it in gear so my power steering still works. Right now it pulls hard. Everything seems to be okay. I'm gonna see if maybe I go to a gas station and then just fill up from there. And then I can fill up every quarter tank. Maybe there's just some sediment at the bottom that's going into the filter and not allowing it to prime. Now I want to knock on the fake wood veneer here. But everything else on this car has been working okay. Temperatures and pressures have been holding fine. The ride quality is good, other than a slight vibration from the front right wheel. That could be an axle, it could be a wheel bearing. I don't think it's a wheel bearing, it's probably a brake disc that's just a little bit warped, but it's okay. It's manageable, and the car tracks straight enough. The gearbox is good. There's no weird whines. I mean, there are a few tolerances in terms of the wind noise in here, but I can't really expect much from a $3,000 car. If it makes it, that is a really, really big if. I will be extremely impressed with this car. Okay, car is hiccuping pretty badly now. And check engine light is flashing. I got no power, and we're pulling off to the side of the road. It's definitely a fuel issue. So, trying to go as far to the side of the road as I can. Like right in the grass here. Ooh! Okay. Car's dead. Car's dead. It's gonna be a very long trip if I have to do it 5 minutes at a time. All right, I'm gonna give the battery a rest because if I run out of battery here, then I am really screwed. Okay. Now it runs again. Ugh. Oh boy. What's wrong with you, Audi? So the problem is, if I just keep RPMs up, then when it actually does cough and die, then it's pretty jarring, and I don't want to be like forced into the next lane or make somebody have to slam on their brakes. But let's see if keeping it in 5th gear will actually do something. So just so you guys know, I have about 5/8 of a tank, a little bit more than a half tank. So I should have plenty of fuel, and I did fuel up this morning, but something ain't happy. And it almost seems electrical at this point. Maybe it's a crank position sensor. I'm gonna check if there's a crank position sensor wire that doesn't look very happy. I hope it's not some weird Audi module that has an internal short every once in a while. Let's go see what's wrong with this thing. All right. So an easy thing to do would just be to wiggle wires. Everything is scorching hot here. Wiggle wires to see if maybe something's disconnected or loose. I mean, nothing seems egregious. Nothing's exploded. Okay, I don't see anything immediately bad. I am going to send it and see if this happens again. Hopefully it was just some bad gas or some sediment in the bottom of the tank and we don't have this problem anymore. All right, fuel stop number 2. This car actually isn't that bad on fuel. I believe it gets something like 22 to 24 miles to the gallon, but I am trying to fill up every quarter tank just because maybe there's some weird float level thing in the tank that is starving the fuel pump for fuel. So it's been running okay, and I have no reason not to do this other than it just taking a lot of time. So we put in another 8 gallons. Huh. Maybe there's something wrong with my fuel gauge, because 8 gallons is a little bit more than a quarter tank. All right, I know that we are a little bit under the gun and we're racing against the clock, but I couldn't give up the opportunity to go see my friend Jared and also drive some really, really nice Georgia mountain roads. The allroad was not known for its handling prowess, but honestly, the fact that it has a manual, it makes this car really fun. But seeing as how I've been driving for a fair bit, I feel like we can go see Jared, see what he thinks of the car, and get a little bit of stretching time, because these seats are supposed to be luxurious and comfortable, and right now they're sort of neither. But tell you what, whatever that problem was before, I'm glad I knocked on wood. I'm knocking on wood again because it's pulling real strong. One thing that's pretty interesting about this engine, and Audi engines in general in this era, is the fact that they don't have a ton of top-end power. They have all their power in the mid-range, which is about 3,500 to 5,500 RPM, which means that when the turbos come on, it feels a little bit more punchy, even though at the top of the rev range, it really just feels like you've hit a brick wall. But when you're in the power band, oh, okay. This car is fast. Like, this car is actually legitimately quick. So for those of you wondering, the reason why this car is one of the most unreliable cars ever made is because it was ahead of its time, but also designed in a way where things that need to get done are very difficult to get done. For that timing belt to get changed, which needed to happen on a regular basis, the entire front end of the car has to come off. For the starter to be changed, the entire front end of the car has to come off. For the alternator, the entire front end of the car has to come off. And that's not even counting the air suspension, which always goes. That's not even counting the transmissions, which can leak. And that's not even counting all the electrical issues that come with a 2000s Audi. It smells like crayons in here, and everything's sort of falling apart. The interior is peeling up. But you know what? It's a car for $3,000. It's gotten me a decent bit across the country already. And other than some minor breakdowns which have remedied themselves, this car is actually doing pretty well. Okay. Huh? Look at it.
Why is this?
Why is it? Dude, come on. I mean, just, okay, it doesn't look very good, but initial reaction, good.
I hope it runs better than it looks.
It made it here. It made it here, and it drove a long way, and it only broke down a few times. So, yeah, a few times.
What has happened to it?
I don't really know.
It looks like there was some spray paint, and then they realized it was the wrong color, so they sprayed primer. and then just gave up.
So the previous owner, well, the previous owner was Tyler Hoover. Previous owner actually had a wrap on it, and then he was doing a bunch of maintenance on the car, and then he was like, why don't I take the wrap off? It might be pristine under there, and it wasn't pristine under there. That's what was underneath the car. I like the car. I may not be in love with the car, and right now I am trying to find out if this is going to be cheaper and faster than a plane ticket because I had my flight canceled. And
As all the planes are doing right now.
yeah, would you drive this basically across the country in one shot?
I do a lot of questionable things. I raced a school bus across the country, so I
figured that's what I asked you.
I would probably do it and expect a lot of problems. I would not pick this if I absolutely had to be somewhere.
Okay,
But if I wanted an experience,
that's an experience. So here's the thing. I just wanted to ask you really quickly, what if I just left this here and you bought it and then I just took a flight home?
no. I don't need an Audi in my life.
You got a BMW, which is worse.
No, that is way better. Never mind the broken fuel pump and the steering rack that caught fire while drifting. I would take that on a cross-country trip with the broken blower and no power steering before buying this.
Okay, but I do have to make tracks because right now it's getting a little dark and it's probably going to get rainy. I don't know if those windshield wipers work. They probably don't.
Yeah,
And
all track or Quattro.
it does have Quattro. I'm not sure if all of it's working, so it might be
Trace.
It might be
Trace drive is better than
Audi Tres. I gotta go.
good luck.
You seriously don't want to buy it?
I absolutely don't want to buy it, and my trailer's full, so you can't call me.
Please. All right, so it's raining just a tiny bit, so that slows things down. Hopefully not too much, and hopefully this doesn't develop some sort of electrical issue because now water's getting where it shouldn't go. Please, Audi, don't break. Not right now. Okay, I think this is fuel stop 7 or 8, and I'm just filling up every quarter. I think I only have a few more fuel stops left to go. Good part is it stopped raining and the sun's going down. I still got a lot of driving left, but this car, hopefully, fingers crossed, will make it there. Please don't die. Welcome everyone to the middle of the night. I am about 100 miles from the Florida border and less than 300 miles from the end of the trip. And the car's doing fine. We are actually making pretty good distance. It's covering quite a good bit of distance, this car. I am filling it up every quarter, which means that I have to fill it up very frequently. I think I have maybe 2 more stops left to go. Now the car is doing okay. It's a little bit rattly, it's a little bit noisy and vibraty, but I think it's gonna make it. I may not, though. I'm a little bit questionable about my own abilities to make this, because When you're at the point where you're sleep deprived, that is actually worse than driving drunk. I'm not saying that I'm there, definitely not. I've never fallen asleep behind the wheel, nothing like that. If I ever get the feeling that I'm falling asleep or close to it, I'm gonna pull over and find a rest area or a hotel. Don't worry about that. Don't write in the comments that I'm a danger to everybody. But I am getting quite tired, so I'm gonna fill up on some energy drinks, maybe some trail mix, something to keep me up, because I have just a few hours left to go. And then we're gonna be there maybe as the sun comes up. The sun's probably still gonna be down at that point, but I am very excited, and hopefully this car makes it no issues, no random dying like we had before. And honestly, I'm very, very surprised, and I'm impressed with this car so far. But hopefully I'll be just as impressed with my own abilities to stay up. I'm rambling. It's late.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to open.
So it's raining a little bit. I can't see anything. Okay, so everybody has resorted to putting on their hazards, so it's impossible to tell if they're making a right or a left turn. That's how you know that we've reached Florida. Minivan with high beams on, completely oblivious to anything. Welcome to Florida. Hello everyone, we have made it. It is currently 4:30 in the morning, and we just got here in the nick of time. Actually, there's a few hours to spare. I am very tired. I don't know if you can see that, but I have been driving for around 22 hours, or been on the road for 22 hours. And the Audi has made it. But as soon as I got to my house, I'm not making this up, I think it just threw a belt. Because all the lights just came on, and it just decided that it wouldn't want to charge anymore. There's no power steering, and the AC doesn't work. All right, take a look at that. I literally just got to my driveway, and that happened. Oh boy. Now, the car did make it, and I'm very, very impressed with it, even though I don't think it's going to make it very far after this unless I get a new belt. But here's the question that I want answered. Did we actually save any money? And I think the answer to that is no, because the amount of money that it cost to buy a plane ticket was about $400. It was expensive, but the amount of money that we spent on gas, considering gas is at a premium, and we did use premium gas, that was around $378. So honestly, it was a wash. I am super tired. Obviously, I would be a lot less tired if I just took a flight. But I think this was a lot more fun. We got to see Jared. We got to see a lot of the country. We got to see a car breaking down on the side of the road. You know, how much fun is that? Okay, so I am going to go inside my house, and get some sleep because I am very tired. But I want to thank all of you for watching. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully I will do something with this car. I actually have some plans with this car because I've bonded with it. I like it a lot, and I think we can make it and build it even better. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on cars like this Audi that now have created some issues for itself, you guys should always build them better. And to do that, you should wrench every day. Thanks for watching. Oh, I'm tired.